role onshore wind plays in the energy transition is delivering to an estimated growth over the next 20 years of 6 times our current fleet. We're standing here in our proven Schenectady, New York manufacturing facility. This is where GE Vernova invested $50 million to ramp up our lean lines for our 6-megawatt onshore wind turbine, our very critical workhorse product with a fleet of 1,200 proven turbines. This investment also comes with a ramp of a 200-strong workforce. Our ultimate goal this year is to achieve 1 unit a day of shipment. Our Kaizen teams this week are comprised of everyone from our hourly assembly technicians all the way up through our executive leadership team. This week focused on risks associated with safety and crane lifts. It focused on quality risks with our electrical assembly components, and it focused on cost containment of our overall direct labor hours. Amazing outcomes we're seeing are 22 crane lifts eliminated, 530 direct applied labor hour reduction across 3 critical assembly operations, a total unit labor hour reduction of 33%. Lean manufacturing is designed to reduce operational costs and associated risks and give us that competitive advantage to really deliver. GE Vernova is committed to leading with lean in order to electrify and decarbonize the world.
Good morning, everybody. It's absolutely terrific to be here. And I just want to give you an update on our wind segment where we see significant margin expansion in sight. And just last year, for those of you that were in the room, I talked about our onshore wind turnaround focus. This year, as we prepared for the GE Vernova spin, we've taken our onshore wind business, our offshore wind business, and our LM Blades operation and really integrated them into one team. And we did that to be able to drive and leverage product technology, commercial selectivity and discipline, as well as our lean operations across both onshore and offshore to really be in the best position to drive margin expansion for the foreseeable future. So if you go to this first slide, you know, as Scott said this morning in his opening, the world needs wind. No matter what model you look at, we see wind entering a multi-generational build-out cycle that represents $5 trillion of investment that's needed over the next 2 decades. And if you look at the chart on the left, you'll see wind going from 7% of the electricity to the grid today to where 25% of the power generation globally will come from wind. And just pause for a second and digest that point. Think of an energy system where 1 out of 4 electrons comes from wind. Because this is a different world. And this is why we believe there's a premium to be gained from reliability, quality, and uptime, because this is high-tech infrastructure that's being deployed at unprecedented scale. And you heard from my colleague Mavi talk about nuclear fleets, our gas fleets. I mean, GE Vernova knows how to scale high-tech infrastructure. So for our wind segment, how do we make this happen? 1, we believe in workhorse products. And these are products that are deployed in fleets of thousands, not project bespoke technologies. 2, you have to lead with quality in design and in manufacturing and the life cycle of services. And 3, you have to be focused and have lean operations to drive continuous improvement day in and day out. So with that, last year I had introduced to you the concept and our strategy around workhorse products, which was core to our success so far in turning around the onshore business. But as I just showed you, we believe it's not just core to us, it's core to the industry's success for wind to become reliable at scale. So what have we done since we talked about this strategy? 1, we've reduced our number of product variants. We've focused our learnings on our fleet of 55,000 wind turbines, leveraging the 4 billion operating hours of insight and information. And 3, we've picked products that win in markets that we care about. And for example, in the US, we believe we provide our customers differentiated value in 80% of the US zip codes. So let's just take a look at the right-hand side. What are the segments? For megawatt-constrained applications, our 3.6 megawatt, 154-meter rotor workhorse is the capacity factor leader, meaning it's the most efficient turbine for megawatt-constrained applications. And this was the turbine of choice by Pattern Energy's SunZia project in New Mexico, which is the largest project in US history. Now, for land-constrained applications, our 6.1 megawatt, 158 meter workhorse is the largest wind turbine manufactured in the US. It is the energy output leader, and this year we will ship over 700 megawatts from our flagship power facility, gas power facility, leaning into my colleague again in gas power, in Schenectady. And just a note on that, that lean video at the beginning was the team coming together, really driving the capability to deploy this technology at scale in the US. And we made this decision to build this product in Schenectady last May. So by October, the first unit left the factory. So in 5 months, from declaring it to the team to having the capability deployed, is something that only you can do in GE Vernova, leaning into the capabilities we have around the world. And this year we'll ship over 700 megawatts from that facility. So listen, our Haliade X 250 meter rotor workhorse is our next generation offshore turbine. This will be deployed, and it's the industry-leading 250 meter rotor. There's no other turbine out there with a rotor this size, and that really defines for wind the entitlement, the product's capability. It'll drive and deliver industry-leading efficiency and output, and it's built on the proven Haliade X technology. And by 2026, we will have a fleet of offshore machines that will have more than 4.5 million operating hours, more operating experience for these large 14 megawatt machines than any of our competitors. So this is our product lineup, and we believe it positions us well to win. So now let's talk about quality. To deliver the energy transition, these products need to run day in and day out, which is, as a result, leading with quality is a top priority, and we are seeing real progress, as is evident on the left side of this chart. And just availability, which is what we're measuring here, is the percentage of time our turbines are available for our customers to dispatch to drive revenue for them. So a very important customer metric. So the example on the left is our 2.8 megawatt, 127 meter rotor turbine. And for projects that completed their first year of operation in 2021, their first year availability was at 96%. And you can see for projects that completed their first year of operation in 2023, this metric is up 2 points to 98. So by closing the loop from customer outcomes upstream into our engineering and manufacturing processes and into our supply chain, we're ensuring our turbines are getting better with every serial number that we ship. The first principle of a workhorse strategy. Now, the right hand of the side of the chart illustrates how we're raising the bar on product launches. Because each one of our core workhorse products, we have a multi-generational product plan to continue to systematically, in a disciplined way, introduce leading capabilities over time. And for example, on the right, if you look to do this, design, validation, manufacturing, projects, all areas that we're raising the bar on to ensure product launches have the highest quality. And one example I wanted to highlight here was in our 3.6 megawatt turbine that we have with Pattern and SunZia. We've developed at our research center up in Niskayuna an AI-based advanced inspection technology to certify the quality of every blade we produce. And how does it work? So just think about a doctor that analyzes scans to find concerns. We're doing the same thing. We're using autonomous robots that scan the interior surface of a wind turbine blade, and they use AI to detect anomalies. In this way, we're certifying the quality of every blade before it leaves a factory, and it provides customers a certification document and data that underwrites that the blade has been manufactured to our strict engineering specifications. So with that, I thought I'd cut to a quick video here, which is at our facility, our factory in North Dakota, to illustrate how this works.
GE Vernova has implemented a first-of-its-kind blade quality certification system powered by AI and intelligent machines that scan and analyze the entire interior surface of every blade as it comes off the production line. Developed by our research center, this AI-driven quality certification system is a closed-loop, scalable solution, ensuring the highest quality for every blade we ship to our customers.
I'm a tech guy by nature, but how cool was that? I mean, when you actually look at the wind industry and you look at where we have to go, I just see tremendous potential, not only in the products, but how they're made, right? And how they're operated. And so the innovation is limitless as far as I'm concerned. So for the industry to fulfill, it's going to be not only the product positioning, but clearly the manufacturing, and we're all over making that the best. So with that, let's jump to the next slide here. And last year, we talked a lot about lean and how we were going to drive structural productivity and transform the onshore business using lean. And just here are some of the results. First, we've reduced layers, effectively bringing our teams closer to our customers. We've simplified and focused our R&D spend with the 3 workhorse products that we talked about. We're consolidating our footprint to create stronger, more capable communities of practice. And finally, we've repositioned our manufacturing resources closer to strategic markets. As a result, we've seen, if you look to the right, our fixed costs as a percentage of our revenue have dropped 6 points. And this has reduced our break-even point of our business to less than 1,000 units a year. So with lean driving improved standard work and moving lines, we can flex up our capacity as we see the IRA impact and the queues going up by a factor of 4. As that volume goes up, we can flex our capacity up with minimal investment. But with our break-even point being at 1,000 units a year, we can maintain the commercial selectivity, and we don't have to chase volume to be profitable and drive our margins. So bringing it all together, this is what our strategy has really done for us so far. 1, our demand visibility is improving. Entering 2022, we had half of that year's backlog with very little for the next year in hand. You fast forward to this year, we're essentially fully committed, sold out for this year to deliver the margin committed in our plans. And we have a line of sight to more than half of next year's volume. And this visibility is very strategic because it allows us to really position with our supply chain partners to go long and to go short ahead of cycles and not be caught off guard. Point 2, on the right, our backlog is growing and it's getting more valuable. You can see from $6.5 billion to $9.3 billion in equipment backlog, but as important, it's 10 points higher margin embedded within that backlog. So when we say margin expansion in sight, that's what we're talking about. So in summary, our onshore turnaround is succeeding. We're more than halfway through our $2 billion EBITDA swing from 2022 to 2024. So now let's talk about offshore. I mean, Scott talked about this. The market's going through a tremendous reset. And honestly, from where I sit, I believe better days are ahead. And our focus is to really take this challenge backlog of $4 billion, which was really priced and committed pre-2021, pre-inflation period, and get better every year from here. We expect this backlog to be largely completed over the next 2 years, while we continue to deliver better EBITDA each year by aggressively managing our costs. And after we install the machines, the Haliade X, we see us gaining tremendous experience and having a moat, because we'll have more than 4 million operating hours by the end of 2026, which is more than all other OEMs with units over 12 megawatts and 200+ meter rotors. So similar to what we've done in onshore, we're deploying lean to drive down cycle time and cost while improving quality. We've seen the cycle time of our offshore nacelle production decrease by 40% over the last year, and we've been able to do this while reducing rework. So to reduce the overall structural costs, we're refocusing the team with fewer layers, we're leaning into the onshore capabilities, and we've institutionalized operational rigor to drive intense spend discipline. And finally, relative to our next book of business, we're applying significant price and project selectivity on our products with future bids, which will position us to build a much better, profitable book of business going forward. So in summary here, you can see the playbook with lead with quality, workhorse products, focus and lean. We're executing that in onshore, seeing tremendous value and real results. Offshore is up next. This has enabled us to deliver a $2 billion margin swing on about 80% of our backlog. And with offshore, we can see the same things happening in time. So we're encouraged by the market. When you look at the tailwinds in offshore, I would say there's a reset underway. You've seen some projects be canceled. You've seen PPA prices being awarded that are about 30 to 50% higher from the levels that they were when our backlog was committed to. And as a result, we are repricing our turbines, focusing with a workhorse strategy to really position us to have a very profitable business for business that we take going forward. So let's just wrap up and close here on the financials. Onshore revenues will be flat, but as we talked about, a favorable mix. We're seeing the U.S. is going to grow meaningfully year over year and at higher margins. And while our international revenues will be lower, they're more profitable, driven by the selectivity and the pricing rigor. This margin expansion will drive us to high single-digit onshore profits in 2024, on top of last year's $1 billion improvement. So in offshore, as we said, we continue to execute the existing backlog. Margins will improve slightly in 24, while the benefits of the plan we just outlined will become more visible in 25 and beyond. So listen, in closing, our turnaround is working. We have a clear line of sight to profitability across the entire wind segment in 2025.